Potential Lewis Hamilton replacement named as pundit teases mutual separation. Charles Leclerc has his own points in Lewis Hamilton documents response. Fred Vasseur has admitted he was left really angry by rumors surrounding his future before signing a new contract with Ferrari. On course for a 7th season at Ferrari without a world title or even being involved in the title fight, Christian Danner says Charles Leclerc has no alternative but to continue with the Italian stable. You thought Charles Leclerc might be sidelined at Ferrari with Lewis Hamilton's influence dominating the team's development? What if I told you? Leclerc has revealed that he too is preparing his own points, making sure Ferrari's direction isn't just Hamilton's voice, but a combined vision. This could change everything, because instead of a toxic power struggle, Ferrari may actually be creating a structured process where both drivers feed in their feedback. And Leclerc insists there's no stress whatsoever, even though Hamilton has already submitted multiple documents filled with technical and cultural changes for Maranello. Let's look at the story. Hamilton joined Ferrari in 2025 after 12 years at Mercedes, bringing with him the reputation of being F1's most statistically successful driver. But his first 14 races in red have been tough, 0 podiums, while Leclerc has already delivered 5, including Ferrari's first pole of the season in Hungary. Hamilton, frustrated but determined, revealed that he has sent Ferrari several documents, a full technical breakdown after the first races, and then more during the mid-season break. These documents focus not only on car development, but also on Ferrari's working methods and race weekend execution. One key issue Hamilton has raised is Ferrari's engine braking system. Compared to what he had at Mercedes, Ferrari's braking feels inconsistent, with too strong an intervention that unsettles him at corner entry. He has reportedly asked Ferrari to design their 2026 power unit in a way that eliminates this complication once and for all. This sparked fears that Leclerc could be overshadowed in Ferrari's development process. But the Monegasque has dismissed that. He says he too is preparing his points, and both drivers present their demands together in big meetings. Leclerc also sees Hamilton's Mercedes experience as valuable. It's always interesting to have someone coming from a very different culture. Lewis had an incredible career, so these are things we look at closely. This debate is bigger than just 2 drivers. Ferrari sits second in the Constructors' Championship, hundreds of points behind McLaren. If they want to challenge for titles in the next rules cycle, getting the direction of Project 678 right is crucial. Balancing Hamilton's fresh outsider insights with Leclerc's 7 seasons of Ferrari experience could make the difference between another false dawn or finally breaking the title drought. But there's still a quiet tension. Hamilton is known for pushing boundaries, sending detailed documents, and experimenting with extreme setups to find solutions. Leclerc, by contrast, tends to stick with more consistent configurations. If Ferrari's engineers start receiving diverging instructions from the 2 drivers, it could slow down progress or create internal debate about which path to follow. For Hamilton, this is about more than just car performance. He has said openly that he refuses to repeat the fate of Alonso or Vettel, world champions who joined Ferrari but never won the title there. Submitting these documents is part of his mission to reshape Ferrari from the inside out, to leave a permanent legacy. For Leclerc, it's about protecting his role as Ferrari's long-term leader, while proving that he can stand shoulder to shoulder with one of the greatest of all time. But the risks are clear. What if Ferrari can't align both drivers' feedback into a single, coherent development path? What if Hamilton's adjustments to the braking system or suspension philosophy don't gel with Leclerc's approach? And what if this becomes less about collaboration and more about Ferrari having to choose one voice over the other? Will Ferrari successfully merge Hamilton's fresh perspective with Leclerc's experience to build a winning Project 678? Or will this dual input become another chapter in Ferrari's long history of internal conflict? You thought Ferrari was about to implode, that Fred Vasseur's days as team boss were numbered, that the rumors swirling in Italy meant the Frenchman had already lost control of Maranello. But what if I told you Vasseur just flipped the script completely? Instead of packing his bags, Vasseur signed a brand new multi-year contract with Ferrari right before the Hungarian Grand Prix. And here's the twist. He didn't just survive the storm. He came out of it angrier, tougher, and more determined than ever. This could change everything for Ferrari's long-term fight. The noise started back in June at the Canadian Grand Prix, seriously considering replacing Vasseur after a winless start to 2025. Names like Antonello Coletta were floated as replacements, and even Christian Horner was linked to Ferrari before his own dramatic exit from Red Bull. At the same time, the rumors didn't just attack Vasseur. They questioned technical director Loic Serra, blaming him for Ferrari's lack of progress, even though the 2025 car was nearly complete before Serra had even started work at Maranello. And they didn't stop there. Charles Leclerc's future was dragged into the chaos, with speculation that he could jump ship to Mercedes or Aston Martin, despite the fact he had already signed a long-term extension. Vasseur later admitted this was the breaking point. He said he was really angry because the reports went too far. According to him, the noise delayed his contract talks with Ferrari and created turmoil inside the team when focus was needed most. But now the narrative has shifted. Ferrari's CEO, Benedetto Vigna, described the new deal as a recognition of what Vasseur has achieved since 2022. Let's not forget, under his leadership, Ferrari was the only team to beat Red Bull in 2023, with Carlos Sainz's victory in Singapore. And in 2024, Ferrari came within 14 points of the Constructors' Championship, only narrowly losing to McLaren. This isn't the story of a team in collapse. It's the story of a team trying to stabilize, and maybe, just maybe, mount a genuine title challenge again. Still, the fractures remain. Italy's media can be ruthless, and Ferrari's own culture magnifies every rumor. When Vasseur says, "In Italy, people tend to react more emotionally," he's not exaggerating. The pressure cooker environment in Maranello has burned out leaders before, from Mattia Binotto to Marco Mattiacci. The real test for Vasseur is whether he can hold the team together under fire, while McLaren and Mercedes keep tightening the screws. Because this is bigger than just contracts and rumors. Ferrari hasn't won a Constructors' title since 2008, the last Drivers' Championship, 2007, with Kimi Räikkönen. For a team with Ferrari's heritage, that's not just a drought, it's a scar. Vasseur knows his job isn't just to win races, it's to restore Ferrari's identity, its pride, and its status as the ultimate team in Formula One. If he succeeds, he won't just be another team boss. He'll go down as the man who gave Ferrari back its soul. But let's be honest, the risks are still massive. What if the upgrades fail again? What if Red Bull rebuilds stronger with Laurent Mekies? Or Mercedes lures Max Verstappen into Brackley? What if Ferrari's obsession with control slows down innovation? And what if, despite the new deal, the pressure finally breaks Vasseur like it has broken so many before him? So here's the big question. Has Ferrari finally found the leader who can survive the chaos and bring championships back to Maranello? Or will Vasseur's story end the same way so many Ferrari bosses have ended, crushed under the weight of expectation? You thought Lewis Hamilton's move to Ferrari was the fresh chapter that would define the twilight of his career, that this was the moment when the seven-time world champion would rewrite history in red. But what if I told you, behind the glamour, whispers are already growing that Hamilton might not even finish his Ferrari project, and that the man he replaced, Carlos Sainz, could sensationally return to Maranello as his replacement? This could change everything, because Ferrari's internal balance of power may be shifting again, and the idea of Sainz coming back after being pushed aside just 1 year ago would be one of the most dramatic storylines Formula One has seen in decades. And here's the twist, it's not just speculation. Former Sky F1 pundit and FIA steward Johnny Herbert has openly suggested that Hamilton and Ferrari could part ways by mutual agreement at the end of 2025. Let's look at the facts. Hamilton has endured a brutal adaptation to the SF25. 14 races, 0 podiums, and public frustration boiling over in Hungary when he called himself useless. He even admitted that Ferrari should consider replacing him, a rare moment of vulnerability from one of F1's fiercest competitors. Meanwhile, Carlos Sainz, who was forced out to make way for Hamilton, is struggling at Williams. No finishes higher than 8th. 38 points behind Alex Albon, a shadow of the driver who once outscored Leclerc over a season. Yet, when asked if he'd return to Ferrari, Sainz himself said, "Yeah, maybe." And that's where Herbert's words hit hardest. He believes both Ferrari and Hamilton might already be preparing for an exit strategy. If this happens, the impact on the grid would be seismic. Hamilton leaving Ferrari early would shake the entire driver market heading into the 2026 regulation reset. It would mark not just the collapse of one of the biggest transfers in Formula One history, but also open the door for Ferrari to undo their own decision, bringing back a driver they discarded for Hamilton. Imagine the ripple effects. Mercedes without Hamilton, Ferrari backtracking, Williams losing their star signing, and Sainz back in red. But let's not ignore the real issue, Ferrari's internal cracks. Hamilton has hinted there's a lot going on in the background that's not great. That is Ferrari in a nutshell. Politics, pressure, instability. When a driver of Hamilton's experience points to problems behind the curtain, you know the situation is toxic. Could this be another case of Ferrari wasting a legend, just like they did with Alonso, Vettel, even Prost? And could Sainz really step back into a team that told him he wasn't good enough? Because make no mistake, this is about legacy. For Hamilton, Ferrari was supposed to be the ultimate final chapter, a chance to prove that greatness transcends machinery. For Sainz, Ferrari was the team that gave him his 4 career victories, the team he thought he would stay with long-term, only to be blindsided by Hamilton's arrival. A return would be personal, a chance to finish unfinished business. And for Ferrari, it would be about rewriting history, admitting a mistake, and betting on a driver who knows their DNA better than anyone else available. But let's be realistic. Hamilton's contract reportedly gives him the option to stay until 2027, regardless of Ferrari's opinion. Would he really walk away from that kind of power? Would Ferrari risk humiliating themselves by undoing their own decision so quickly? And would Sainz even accept coming back to a team that once broke his trust? The doubts are everywhere, Mitt, but the rumors won't go away. So here's the real question. Is Lewis Hamilton's Ferrari dream already collapsing into a nightmare? And could Carlos Sainz be the one to pick up the pieces in 2026? You thought Charles Leclerc was the golden boy destined to bring Ferrari back to glory. But what if I told you he might actually be trapped in a career dead end with no way out? This could change everything. Because it's not about Leclerc's talent, it's about the brutal reality of Formula One's driver market. And the more you look at it, the more you realize he may have nowhere else to go. Leclerc burst into F1 in 2018, made his Ferrari debut in 2019, and instantly looked like the future of Maranello. Pole positions in Monza, victories in Spa, a multi-year extension in 2024, everything screamed champion in waiting. And yet here we are, 7 years on, no title, not even a serious fight for one. Rumors swirled this season that he was frustrated, but Leclerc himself denied them, saying, "I keep telling everyone how much I love Ferrari and how much I want to bring this team back to the top." But Christian Danner, the former F1 driver, isn't buying it. He believes Leclerc is smart enough to know the truth. Ferrari is still failing, and the title dream keeps slipping away. So what are his options? McLaren, locked with Norris and Piastri. Red Bull, still Verstappen's kingdom, even with their technical chaos. Mercedes, Russell is the chosen one, and Hamilton's shadow still looms. That leaves nothing. And this isn't just about Leclerc. It's about what happens when a team like Ferrari, the most historic, the most emotional, the most political, doesn't deliver. It doesn't just trap one driver, it reshapes the entire grid. Because if Leclerc has no escape route, it means Ferrari controls his future, and that control could decide who challenges for championships in the next decade. Inside Maranello, this creates tension. Leclerc is a driver desperate for glory. Ferrari is a team desperate to protect its reputation. And yet, season after season, the gap between expectations and reality grows. Every rumor about Mercedes, every whisper about Aston Martin, every headline about Ferrari's failures, it all chips away at the relationship. And Leclerc, no matter how much he smiles, knows it. But here's the twist. Leclerc isn't just another frustrated driver. He's carrying the weight of Ferrari's legacy, a legacy that swallowed up Alonso, that broke Vettel, and that now risks defining his own career. Think about it. Every great driver wants to be the man who finally tames the red beast. For Leclerc, that's not just ambition, that's identity. And walking away, even if he could, might feel like giving up on his life's mission. But let's be real. What if Ferrari never gets it right? What if 2026, the big regulation reset, brings nothing but another excuse? What if Leclerc spends his prime years watching McLaren, Mercedes, and even Aston Martin fight for titles while he's stuck battling for podium scraps? And here's the uncomfortable truth. If that happens, history won't remember his loyalty. It will remember his wasted potential. So here's the question. Is Charles Leclerc building a legacy as Ferrari's future champion? Or is he slowly becoming the next great talent that Formula One will label as what could have been?